everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Jill here today with the Cherry on Top YouTube hop. And the video hop each month focuses, as many of you probably know, on a different technique or prompt. And this time it's sparkle. And my fellow design team members have done some really gorgeous scrapbook pages. As it turned out, I decided to focus on some small art journal pages in order to try out some media that have been interesting me, that are new and sparkly. So let's get into the project, and as I talk about it, I can talk you through some of the things I did to make these pages. So first of all, I decided, because I wanted the pages to be loose so that I could get really messy with them and stitch on them and all of that, I decided just to put it together a little ring-bound set of mixed pages. And so I'm calling it Art Journal Experiments. And I hope to keep this up throughout the fall and see what I learn. Okay, so the first page I'm going to talk about is this one. And the main product that I want to feature in my particular video is the new Tim Holtz Halloween mica sprays. And they're called Distress Mica Stain. And each of these comes in a 3-pack. You can't buy them individually. They're only available now for Halloween. They're like seasonal in that sense. But they're, of course, very versatile. They're just colors. You can use them for any kind of project. It doesn't have to be a Halloween project. Of course, the colors are really great for Halloween. So let me say a little bit about how I created the background for my art journal page using these. I used Flickering Candle, which is a really gorgeous yellow, very, very sparkly, and Jack-o'-lantern. And I mixed them with regular distress sprays. And I don't think I brought one down, but you know, the larger bottles. These are small in comparison with the large. This is an oxide spray, but there's also a regular distress spray, spray stain. And the stain, distress stain, is very similar to watercolor, whereas the oxide is a pigment and dye combo. So it's different from just the dye or watercolor-like spray. I'll say a little bit more about this later because I demoed the oxide with one of these. This is really a mix and match product. It works great with your other sprays. So I'd recommend that, not just spraying it all on its own, though you could probably do that, but combining it for that sparkle. And I would also strongly recommend with this product that you check out Tim Holtz's blog, because he's got marvelous introductions to the products and demos of how to use them. So I don't really want to repeat that here, but I want to talk about my project and what I thought of this new product. All right, it's kind of subtle, so I'm not sure the camera is going to pick up the shimmer, but it's very, very pretty. And for this first page that I'm going to show you, I used, this is watercolor cardstock. See if I guess I didn't bring the substrates down, but there are different papers that Tim Holtz has made available, and one is a watercolor paper. It has a textured side and a smooth side. I ended up using the textured side, and what happens when you use, and I don't know if you can see this, when you use this textured side with these sparkle sprays, the mica gets into the little crevices, and so it creates this really pretty effect of little sparkles almost embedded in your project. So see if that's picking up that little bit of sheen. So I love that. I mean, it's really pretty. I use some regular orange spray stain and also use this jack-o'-lantern, which is in there creating some sparkle, but I think kind of what I used more of was the Flickering Candle yellowy gold. Okay, so let me talk a little bit more apart from what created the sparkle on the page. Let me talk just a little bit more about this approach to art journaling. The other thing is that I used some metallic paint, and that too gives you a nice little bit of shine. The first thing to say is, besides being inspired by Tim Holtz, I was also inspired with this by Sept And some of you might know his work, and you can find some demos that he does on, especially on Instagram. And his approach is lots of layering, and I wanted to like experiment with color and layering. So I used some of his suggested techniques, and that was lots of fun. So I love washi, so I used a lot of strips of washi tape, and I ripped some of them and left some of them a little bit linear. So I have this kind of interplay of the organic and the linear. I used some washi tape from my stash, and some that's probably available in the shop, especially when you see the next project. I know there are a couple available at Cherry on Top. And here in the background are these rainbow tapes from Heidi Swap. You might recognize those. The whole point in some ways is so that you don't recognize what it is, so that it all blends into your own style. In addition to the washi tape, there are rub-ons. And these are just kind of, I think maybe I grabbed them. No, I guess I didn't. But anyway, they're just rub-ons, but these are rub-ons in kind of like watercolor splotches. And I think, and this is a rub-on leaf. But you can find kind of your favorite rub-ons and try those out on top of this sparkled background layer. You can see some stamping in here. I always love stamping. This torn paper, I actually created this. This is from Jelly Printing, and I made it with that, I think it's called Cracked Pistachio Distress Color. I believe I probably used the paint since it was on the gel plate, and then a stencil. So I kind of created this background paper, which I use here in 3 different places on my art journal page. And then collage paper, there's a lot of that available in the Cherry on Top shop. And so just rip little bits and put them down. People often ask about adhesive, and so I did bring the adhesive I use. I love the Distress Collage Medium because it dries quickly and it's designed for collage. But regular matte medium, which dries a little bit more slowly, especially that's good if you have trouble with commitment. Anyway, that would work just fine too. Okay, and in this book, what I'm doing is I'm kind of just putting some cool pattern paper on the back of each page, at least for now, so that the eyes with all this detail, as you page through, will have a place to rest. This is just kind of an envelope I made and tucked in there. Okay, here's my next project, also using the mica stain. You can see like completely different color scheme. And this time I felt a little happier about the variation in the amount I sprayed. That first one became very orange because I just sprayed a little bit too much. And that's why I'm calling this book Experiments, because I think just by making these little free-spirited pages, I'll learn a lot about technique. And most of that learning just comes with practice. So I very much recommend it. Already, just with the few things I've made in here, I feel like I've learned quite a bit. I recognize the purple. I don't remember all the names at this point. Let's see, I used all 6 of these except for the gray. I haven't used that yet. The purple is called Hocus Pocus. One thing to say about these, the mica is in the bottom, so it's a good idea to store these if you can on their side. And even just like before you use it, to put it on the side, and then shake them up really well before you use them, and check the bottom to make sure that the mica is mixed in. The mica bonds with the pigment in these. So unlike some mica sprays which just spray the sparkle, these spray color and sparkle. And you can really see that, I think, with Hocus Pocus, that gorgeous, really gorgeous, vibrant purple. Again, I can't tell how much the camera's picking up. But it's very glimmery and sparkly. So I created the background by spraying these along with some of the colors, including the new color Prize Ribbon, the new Distress color, which is really a great blue. I'm liking that a lot. And some of the turquoise, like probably Mermaid Lagoon. Besides using the purple, I used this green, and the corner has a really beautiful iridescent green shimmer from the Distress mica stain called Bubbling Cauldron. Okay, so that gives you a little idea of what the colors look like when they're sprayed on. There's a lot going on this page. After I created the background, I once again applied some washi tape from my stash. This is a little bit of washi tape from Peaceful Heart, the new Jen Hadfield line available in the shop. I love the washi in that collection. I also used some My Mind's Eye Wild Asparagus, both here and up here. This little bit of velvet ribbon comes from a Tim Holtz collection of ribbon that I just use all the time. I like it so much because of the texture that it adds. And this is available in the Cherry on Top shop for sure. Okay, and then my focal point for this one is just a little flower pot that I cut out, and I distressed it a bit, used a little bit more of that purple mica stain, and some more stamping, pattern stamping, applying, oh, this is some rice paper, and I actually do have a bit of that with me. This, I'm trying to remember, it's, Ciao Bello, which is in the shop. And rice paper is really interesting. I've not worked with it very much. It did create a cool effect up here on the edge when I used just a few little, used some here and some elsewhere too, little torn edges of it. Again, some rub-ons on top. Okay, so that gives you an idea of how that little art journal page came together. All right, sparkle galore. I wanted to show you what you can do with the new Halloween glitter from Tim Holtz. And this comes with pieces of mica. There are 2 little jars. I'm not sure if I have them here. I think I at least have the glitter. No, I have the mica flakes. Anyway, there's a distress black glitter and a distress mica flakes, and they come in a 2-pack, brand new for Halloween. And Tim Holtz talks about this glitter as having like a hex cut, and I guess what that means is that it's super sparkly. Anyway, I really loved using it, and let me tell you a little bit about how I used it with the stencils. These are Tim Holtz stencils, also from the fall release. I like to get the little ones and the big ones together so you have like a variation in scale on your projects. And here you can see how I combined the small circle and the large circle. I glittered all of the small circle, the large circle over here, and then I just like put a little bit of glitter on a few of the smaller ones. And the process for this is to stick your stencil down and use, I don't know if I have a little, I guess I didn't bring it, oh yeah I do, a little applicator, what are these called, foam tool, and you're probably familiar with these, and then for the first layer, I put some black gesso on this, and be careful not to get too much on, like put it on, tap it off, and then go through the stencil. So you make essentially just black circles, and that's what you can see here. The ones that are not glittered just have a matte black finish. And that looks cool too. But when you're done with that, then I clean the stencil, let it dry, and then put the stencil back on, and through the holes of the stencil, take that same tool, except apply it to some of this collage medium. So you essentially have a glue for the glitter to stick to, and I just did that over the black. Now the reason I have that black layer is Tim Holtz kind of pointed this out, and I've had this experience myself with all glitters. You're going to get a much bigger, better impact if you have the same color under your glitter. So either black paper or putting black gesso down under this really fantastic black glitter is going to let it truly shine. I think it'd be more subtle without that. And maybe that's the effect you want, and that's fine. But just so you know what you're dealing with. Then I just stamped some butterflies in black, stamped Live Inspired, and let that little bit in both corners kind of serve as my focal point. A couple sequins. Some of the other people on the team went crazy with sequins. It's just so great. Glad to see, because I love them. But I used them just a little bit on my projects, knowing they would take you through some sequin techniques. But sequins are always a great way to add a little bit of a dimension and sparkle. Okay, so that's it for that kind of sparkle and these stains and the new Halloween release. To go back to something that I've used before and loved for the last few months, it's the metallic flakes. And I've talked about the steampunk, and they've been on some of my blog projects. This is just the gold, but I thought it would combine in a really pretty way with the broomstick, I think it's called Crooked Broomstick, mica stain. This color is really cool. It's kind of a bronze brown, and most of it is covered up a little bit in this project as it turned out. but you can see it there. And I think it combines really, really beautifully in a complementary way with gold. So this technique to get, I just used a stamp. I stamped it in Versamark. Good, I have some here. This kind of sticky ink, which is kind of just like a glue pad essentially. So I stamped the ABCs in that. And then I used sticky embossing powder. This is made by Ranger. And the sticky embossing powder, you apply it all over and then shake it off and then heat set it. And when you heat set it, it has like a stickiness to it when it becomes transparent. And at that point, you can just go ahead and pour your gold flakes all over it. Tamp it down gently, don't move it around too much, and then take off and give it some time to adhere. And when you come back, take off the excess, and then you have this nice messy gold stamping. I'm really addicted to this particular technique, so I recommend you give it a try. Okay, so I just put a Tim Holtz paper doll at the top, gave him a name and some wings, and stitched it all down and did a little bit of stamping. I can never resist adding stamping. So that's my little art journal page. And again, just pattern paper on the back. Was that the last? I think that's the last one I made. I also want to remind you that when you make these little journals, there are certain products that are just like lots of fun to put in. This is something that I think is in the shop. It's just a collection of transparency designed, like vellum sheets. And I used an edge punch. I'm like really bringing these edge punches out of my stash and using them a lot more these days. And then it can peek out with all the other layers and kind of have its own simple place in the art journal. Okay, so I hope that introduced you to some additional ways to add sparkle. You can use these, of course, on mixed media backgrounds for scrapbook pages as well as in your art journal. But thanks for joining me. Hope you got some ideas.